So let's start. This is Bill Bonvillian with MIT, and with me is Christine Nolan of MassTech, who I'll introduce in a second. I'm just going to make a few introductory remarks in the next 4 or 5 minutes, and then Christine will give us some framing around manufacturing in particular in the state of Massachusetts. So just quickly on my background, I'm a lecturer at MIT, and I'm the senior director for special programs in MIT Open Learning. And I've worked on workforce education issues and did a book on workforce education this past year. And with me is Christine Nolan, who's director of the Center for Advanced Manufacturing at the Massachusetts Technology Collaborative, MassTech. That's the agency that's focused on growing the technology and innovation sectors. She's got an engineering background, has a wealth of senior level experience in both manufacturing and technology organizations in Massachusetts, and her full bio is on the event page. Before I turn to Christine, let me just quickly summarize today's program. Our timetable is 11 to 4, and let me mention that if you've got questions for panelists, please use the Q&A feature at the bottom of the screen. And if you want to communicate with other participants, use the chat feature that's at the bottom of the screen. So we'll have some opening framing comments in a minute from Christine. Then at 11:15, we'll have a panel on state-based apprenticeship programs, including representatives from South Carolina, Colorado, Utah. We'll have a keynote talk, 12:05, from Patrick Mitchell, who directs, let me go back up one, who directs the Massachusetts apprenticeship programs. At 12:40, we'll discuss the community college role in apprenticeships with community colleges from a number of states, including Texas and Illinois. At 1:30, we'll have a panel, really the voices of a group of 4 apprentices speaking about their experience in apprenticeship programs and the significance to them. At 2:30, the director of apprenticeship for the American Association of Community Colleges will talk to us. AACC is making a major new national effort on apprenticeship programs in community colleges. At 2:55, our closing panel, really discussing what's next for U.S. apprenticeships, including representatives from Jobs in the Future, Apprenti, Ohio, and Kentucky. And at 3:45, closing comments from MIT and from MassTech. Let me just make a few opening points. Apprenticeships can be an opportunity space for community colleges. And that relationship between apprenticeships and community colleges is really our topic for today. As you all know, community colleges tend to be kind of counter-cyclical with business cycles. Enrollments tend to grow during downturns, and then they'll drop during upturns when jobs are more accessible and available. So we've got a tight labor market now. Community colleges in our state and nationwide have had a significant enrollment decline. It's 20% nationwide on top of COVID enrollment problems. But a lot of schools are finding that when work and learning can be connected directly, and students earn wages while going to school, and the schoolwork complements their on-the-job skills, that's a very attractive package for them. Apprenticeships can be a more solid and financially sustainable path than school only. They can lead to rewarding careers. So apprenticeships can be a way for community colleges, not just an advantage for students, but a way for community colleges to strengthen their programs, to reach out and find more students, to engage in their missions of service to communities and employers. And they can also improve their completion rates. Students have a big stake in completing their apprenticeships because a full job awaits them. So today's symposium is really all about how these community college connected apprenticeship programs can work. Now, let me turn to Christine, who's going to discuss kind of the background in Massachusetts manufacturing and the potential role that apprenticeships can play and some of the programs that MassTech is pursuing.
Thank you, Bill, for your opening remarks. I appreciate everybody taking the time to join us today. We all know about some of the challenges that our manufacturers are facing right now. So us coming together and collaborating on these issues, I think certainly is how we're going to get to success. So I wanted to start off for many of you that may not be aware a little bit about what are we looking at for advanced manufacturing here in the state of Massachusetts. So as Bill introduced me, I'm the director of the Center for Advanced Manufacturing at the MassTech Collaborative. So we're focused, completely on economic development in the state around tech and innovation. And my team focused on advanced manufacturing. It's all led under the direction of the Secretary of Housing and Economic Development, Michael Keneally. And the good news is that the Secretary is a strong advocate for manufacturing. And his advocacy is shown in his commitment to various programs that we work through. So our commitment to manufacturing is really focused around three pillars for areas of success. And that starts out with innovation, and that's evidenced through our M2I2 program, which is really all about spurring innovation and next generation technologies. It's a $100 million commitment from the state, and there's about 70 projects that are already out there that are scaling emerging technologies that align with our Manufacturing USA institutes or areas critical to at the federal level. Areas in additive manufacturing, robotics, semiconductors, electrification, functional fabrics. So just a nice commitment. This program's been out there for more than 5 years now and has really shown significant economic development and job growth. But, one of the things that we noticed and in support actually in research through MIT and Ben Armstrong is, that our SMEs, our supply chain, are struggling to keep up with our OEMs in regards to capital equipment, right? There's all these emerging technologies coming out. There's a need to drive towards Industry 4.0 and embrace these technologies, but it's hard to get the capital to do that. So we saw this need, and the state of Massachusetts came through and supported it through another capital program called MMAP, which we're just opened up applications in our second year, but you can see based on the number of applications that this is just a strong need for this type of program to support our supply chain and our SMEs as they're scaling. And then, of course, the third pillar is all around workforce development and talent in our pipeline. And there's nobody that isn't talking about this right now. And I'm sure you're all in the same boat that every conversation you are in, it turns to pipeline and being able to find the talent they need to scale. What we're not necessarily hearing from the manufacturers here in Massachusetts is that, they're struggling to find business, right? At this point, it seems to be that business is good. Right? They've got big pipeline. They're seeing new markets open. It's supported certainly in Massachusetts from our defense industry and our life sciences and biomedical industry, right? So a lot of business coming in, but not necessarily having the workforce to be able to scale to the needs that they need. I was in a good sized manufacturer in Central Mass that has this large paint piece of equipment. And he's desperate to run a second shift and has nobody to run the equipment, so it's a struggle. And they're thinking creatively about how they can find talent and develop talent. So that's terrific, right? But the state, Massachusetts, has really set a strategy to help address this pipeline and talent issue that is under considerable pressure. And we all know it starts with awareness, right? Starting at the K through 12 level and getting folks interested in manufacturing as a career choice. And we also have, so at our Voc Tech schools, we're looking to drive awareness there. And with our MassBridge program that I'm going to talk briefly about, we have these awareness content and videos that are showing what the manufacturing of today means to help develop interest in this program. Massachusetts also offers the Innovation Pathway Schools, which is really exciting and a focus, I think, from the state's perspective with our legislators as well as industry. And so the Innovation Pathway Schools are happening at our traditional high schools, but it's programming that is industry led. So we have, I think it's 34 high schools in Massachusetts that are designated as innovation pathway programs that have some programming in advanced manufacturing, which is terrific. And there's an interest in scaling that number in the year and two ahead. And so we're connecting industry into these innovation pathways, to develop these programs and support them and find talent. We also look at these innovation pathway schools as a nice pathway into our community college system and a way to support that. So making that connection between innovation pathways and our community colleges. Excuse me. Shifting over to community colleges, as Bill mentioned, right, they're struggling with enrollment right now. And a lot of the kids coming in are also seeing it, especially in Massachusetts, right, as this pathway into our four-year systems. But there's a need, right, to embrace at the community college level our two-year programs and getting them engaged in industry programs. And that's what we're going to talk about, right, our apprenticeships. But what we have right now happening at the community college programs is a really terrific federally funded program called MassBridge, which I'm sure many of you have heard about. But it's creating this consistent statewide manufacturing technician training program that's specifically developed to meet the needs of industry. We've had strong partners involved in this, from MIT to our community colleges, of course, over to our Mass Higher Workforce Boards, and most importantly, industry, right? Listening to them, to what their needs are, and mapping these needs over to our community college curriculum. So we're piloting this program right now. We're excited about some of the new projects-based learning that has been pushed into the community college programs to prepare our students to meet emerging trends and technologies. So a lot happening, but what we all know is that we need to engage more people in manufacturing career opportunities. So, a way that we think, one of the keys that we believe that we're going to create this new momentum that we need is through industry engagement, right? So we need industry involved on advisory boards at our innovation pathway schools. We need industry-led projects at our community colleges. We need our community college students to get involved, whether it be on tours and internships. We need a lot of help finding trainers. I mean, we all know that there's a shortage of trainers at our across programs, whether it be, and I didn't talk about this, but our adult education programs that are producing our machinists and welders, to trainers at our high schools, right? So how are they going to, our teachers going to come up to speed around these technologies? And of course, we need industry engagement and support around apprenticeships. We need to embrace this path to provide a financially stable pathway that leads to sustainable careers, right? We know that if once we're getting people engaged into advanced manufacturing, that there's good job opportunities and job growth at these manufacturers. And that's what we're looking to support, right? Industry knowing that in order to engage students in this career, they have to show these good careers, and they're doing that. So a lot has to happen to solve these challenges. And we know that it's not going to happen overnight, but I do believe that apprenticeships is one of the keys to doing this. Not only is it getting people into the door with industry, but they're being able to see what's happening out there. And they're also able to earn a living wage while they're engaged in this training. So I'm thrilled to be part of this program today. I think, Massachusetts doesn't have all the answers when it comes to apprenticeships. So we're all here to learn from each other and develop best practices and move this program forward to really meet the needs of our industry and that are helping to, secure our, current situation and the future. So excited to see what others are doing and how apprenticeships work across the country. And with that, I'd like to hand it over to George Westerman at WPI. Excuse me, I'm WPI grad. Sorry, it just came out. Sorry, George. I know this. George Westerman of MIT, who will moderate a panel on state-led apprenticeship programs. Thanks so much, George.
Thanks, Christine, Bill, for such a good start on this program.